Morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone across the globe joining us today. This is Lindsay from Acquia. Today's webinar is An Hour with Dries, Product and Strategy Update for Partners, with Dries Buytaert, Acquia's co-founder and CTO, and Eric Fullerton, Acquia's Lead Product Evangelist. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. If you have any questions for the presenters, please submit them in the Q&A and they will answer them at the end of the presentation. Slides and the recording of this webinar will be sent to you via email within the next few days. And now I'll pass it off to you, Dries.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome everybody to this webinar. For those that haven't met me, I'm Dries. I'm the co-founder of Acquia, and I run the product and the product marketing teams at Acquia. And I'm joined today by Eric Fullerton.
Yeah, thanks, Dries. I've recently moved into a newer role at Acquia where I'm helping evangelize our cross-product portfolio. So one of the pleasures I have is being able to work with Dries and to build some of our strategy and presentations, the way we talk to our partners and to our customers. So we're really excited and happy about what we have to share with you. I think there's some exciting stuff in here and some good news, and we're especially excited for some of the Q&A opportunities at the end. So I think with that, we're just going to try to get started. We have a lot to cover, so we'll try to move as efficiently and as effectively as we can.
Yep, we'll do our best. And then, as Eric said, we'll leave time in the end for questions, which we're excited about. First of all, we want to recognize, obviously, that, these are potentially difficult times also for our partners in the agency world, but also for our customers. Just wanted to recognize that Acquia, is here to help. We have various offers for both end users or customers as well as partners, where we provide some of our services free of charge for those that are, for example, in the healthcare or government industries. We can work with you, be flexible, these kinds of things. So if you want to learn more about it, you can, click on the link below or email us and we'll get you in touch with the right people. So today we're really going to talk about our product strategy and some of the things that we're doing that we have in store for this year. We're very excited about it. A lot of these things will be very good for the partner ecosystem. And so at the core of our strategy is this belief that experience wins. And it's really a fundamental belief that we have at Acquia. And there's lots of examples that sort of back up that belief. One very simple example that I think a lot of us can relate to is that, let's say both a taxi and an Uber get you from A to B, but the Uber experience, usually is a lot better, right? And so the same thing is actually true in the world of digital experiences. A lot of digital experiences do the same, but the one that are the best experience, that provide the best customer experience, are usually what creates digital winners in the market. And so a lot of research backs that up. And actually Gartner did a survey and they asked lots of CMOs from large companies about this. And basically what they said is that it's no longer sufficient to have a great product or a functional product. You also have to have a great experience around that great product. And so, we believe that this is a theme that will be true for many, many years to come. And yet, a lot of the world's organizations, they are not providing these kinds of great experiences. There is a lot of experience sameness. There's a lot of mediocrity around experiences. And so really across the board, I would say organizations have not truly digitally transformed to put those customer experiences first, right? And so our mission, our vision as a company is to help our customers and our partners, become really, really good at creating these experiences. And today it's hard to create these experiences because there's a lot of silos. And you can see it on this slide here, where a lot of organizations have obviously websites, they do email marketing or marketing automation. They may have an e-commerce solution, a social platform, a CRM system. And historically, each of these platforms are silos where content is not unified. It's scattered across each of the silos, where user profile data, which you can see sort of in the green, I guess, is not unified across all of these systems. And because of that, organizations have to copy paste content. Organizations do not fully understand who their customers are. They don't really understand their preferences because all of these things are disconnected. And just to give a very quick personal example, often when I have the option, when I go to a website, I may set my preferred language option to Dutch because Dutch is my native language. And then literally the next day, I will get an email in English, right? And so it's a great example of how, these experiences aren't connected, how they're not integrated, and how it harms, customer experiences. In my case, I obviously can read and talk in English, but that's not necessarily the case for a lot of customers, right? So if you miss them on their language, you're going to deliver a poor experience. And so our vision at the core of all of this is that we want to eliminate these silos, as you saw in the previous slide. And the way we're doing that is by building an open digital experience platform. The way we've organized our open digital experience platform is in two clouds. On the one hand, we have the Drupal cloud. On the other hand, we have the marketing cloud, and you can see, some of the products and capabilities that go in each of these two clouds. And we'll be talking about this, in this presentation. But to see how these two clouds map on the previous slide, it's roughly like this, right? Where we provide a unified experience creation layer and a unified data profile, customer data profile with the marketing cloud. And then obviously with the Drupal cloud, we're very focused on content management and content creation and really creating a single source of truth for all of the content across your organization. And then obviously none of that matters unless you're really good at delivering these experiences, which is where we have a lot of experience. We've been doing experience delivery for 12 years with products like Acquia Cloud and the like. So with that, it's probably a good segue into talking a little bit more about the Drupal cloud, and then in specific, the Acquia Cloud product that is part of that. I think, at Acquia, we often take sort of the Acquia Cloud for granted. It's kind of our bread and butter, so to speak. But the reality is that it's a great product. We've been doing this for 11-ish years. And I would say Acquia is really born in the cloud, right? We took open source and Drupal specifically, and very early on, after we started the company, we saw an opportunity to deliver open source in the cloud. And so we were born out of open source, and we were also born in the cloud. And so we are years and years ahead in terms of our cloud delivery of Drupal compared to traditional hosting companies, and that's demonstrated by the fact that we continue to win a lot of business. You can see some of our customers, or new customers, I should say, that we signed up in 2019. A lot of amazing brands, Japan Airlines, Shake Shack, which I'm personally very excited about. I hope it converts into a free burger somehow. Edward Jones, L'Oreal, Fidelity Investment. I mean, the list goes on and on. A lot of great customers that are moving to Acquia Cloud because of the scalability and the security capabilities of our platform. So with that said, let's talk a little bit more about where we want to go, right? So that's why we're here. And the way we think about what we're doing with the Drupal cloud is we don't just want to be a hosting platform, right? Like the way we approach our strategies, we want to really think about the entire life cycle of a site. So what that means is we want to help our customers go from an idea, if you will, like, hey, here's something that we want to do for our business to help our customers, to implementing and launching that idea as fast as possible. And that's obviously much more than just being a hosting provider. And so let's talk a little bit more about that, right? So if you think about that, there's sort of three parts to going from idea to launching. There is the code, meaning you have to write some Drupal code or other code, and then deploy it, obviously. But there's also the design piece. You have to create the look and feel for your website, and last but not least, you have to create content and add it to your websites, right? And so let's talk about each of these three pieces in a little bit more detail. So if we think about code, usually that can be quite a bit of work, right? You need to think about which modules you're going to use. You may have to write custom code. And so we've been really focused on trying to simplify that and to reduce, I don't know if you saw it in the slides, but that code box shrunk, right? So our vision there is to make it a lot more efficient and faster to write code. And the way we're doing that is, one, by contributing back to Drupal. And this year, 2020, should be a big year for that, because it's the year that Drupal 9 will be released. It's something that we've been working on now for like 4 or 5 years, to do the math in my head. But our current plan is to release Drupal 9 on June 3rd. So it's not too far away. And it will come with a lot of great improvements. Now, a lot of these improvements, in addition to other improvements, will be made available through Lightning. And so as we get ready for Drupal 9, we're also obviously investing in Lightning, which is, if you're not familiar with Lightning, it's our version of Drupal. So we've taken, Drupal, and we added a bunch of commonly used capabilities, things that we see a lot of our customers use that are not part of the base distribution. And so we added them in, and we made our own distribution of Drupal. It makes for a great starting point. And so obviously Lightning comes with all of the improvements in Drupal 9, but we also have other improvements that we make on top of Drupal. And all of that is open source, by the way. And so some of the things you can see here, we spend a lot of time improving the authoring experience of Drupal, all the way from better media library to allow content creators to reuse images and video and content, to improving the user experience for content authors with a new look and feel. We're also recognizing a big movement into headless and decoupled architectures, which is something that Drupal has been investing in, for over 5 years. So we're really good at that, and we get recognized for being really good at that. And so obviously these improvements also ship with Lightning, and a lot more. And so that really helps with the code piece. Lightning is a great starter to accelerate your development. Now, the next piece is design. And we actually did a survey talking to our partners, probably some of you that are on the webinar as well. And what we've learned from talking to partners is that the design part of a site build can actually take 30 to 50% of the total time and development cost, which is obviously, a crazy number. It's a lot. And so we really wanted to make that easier as well. And so last year, we acquired a company called Cohesion. And Cohesion is a product, an Acquia product that simplifies the design work, and it kind of helps you go, design and build sites, and specifically sort of the look and feel, as well as things like landing pages and stuff, faster. And it takes a lot of that cost out of the development process, which is pretty exciting. So since we've bought the company, we have made a bunch of improvements to it. You can see some of them on the screen, but we improved the style guide manager, for example, and that provides designers and site builders sort of the ability to preview changes. Makes it very easy to see what the site and the content and the branding will look like. We've also integrated it with our products, obviously. So Cohesion now works with Acquia Cloud, but also with Acquia Cloud Site Factory, which helps you manage many websites. And so, we're building new features in Cohesion that really kind of aligns well with the Site Factory paradigm, where you can create, design templates and components and then reuse them across all of your sites in Site Factory, which obviously can help accelerate your development, but it can also help provide consistency in brand and design. Same thing with integration with Lyft. That's coming really soon in Q2 this quarter. Stuff like that. So a lot of investment going into Cohesion. And then, we have a little demo of it.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about with Cohesion is this is the demonstration of the new Style Guide Manager. And as someone who in a past life was responsible for being a marketer and updating websites, this is something that was really exciting for me to see, because I remember how long it would take to do something that was just a simple update. You can see what's going on in the background. We're really making it easy for people who don't have technical backgrounds to update something like a heading. It's really easy to change the color scheme, something like this. And this is really exciting because it's not about the initial build as much as it is making sure that you're highly paid, you're very worthwhile Drupal developers are focused on kind of more innovative things than updating the headline or updating the font color of a specific page. So I really love this, especially as someone who is formerly a user and someone who doesn't necessarily have origins in Drupal, to be able to see how simple it is with the new Style Guide Manager. And one of the things that I also wanted to mention is that we have the Cohesion Partner Certification, and that's something that's going to be rolled out in the first week of May. We've talked to a bunch of partners about this already, and we're something that we're really excited about. We spent a lot of time working on this certification. We're going to be highlighting a couple other certifications throughout the presentation, but we're really excited about this Cohesion Partner Certification, and we think we're going to get a lot of momentum on that.
In fact, we've already seen a lot of momentum with Cohesion as a product. Like, we see a lot of adoption. We're also including it, or trying to include it, in every Acquia Cloud subscription. So, all right. So that's a little bit about Cohesion. I guess before we move on, I can tackle this question in real time. But Mark Hope asked if Cohesion is multilingual ready, and the answer is yes. So you can manage content in multiple languages with Cohesion. So obviously now you've built your site, you've designed your site, it looks pretty, and all of that went faster than normal. So now comes the time to, basically launch your website. And obviously that's something that we are focused on as well. There's a number of different things that we're doing. You can see them in the box, but the first thing is really all about Cdn and Ssl. So today we actually offer like a premium Cdn, and we also offer a platform Cdn. And the platform Cdn is something that's available for every site. Basically makes your site faster. It's pretty simple to set up, and it's optimized for Drupal. What we're working on is making that more automated, so that you can enable that for your customers or for your own sites, sort of with a click of the button. That's something that we're actively working on right now. We're also working on bundling SSL and SSL for ACSF. So if you have 100 sites or 1,000 sites, it can be a little tedious to set up SSL for each of those sites. So what we're doing is we're making that very easy and automated to enable a SSL certificate for each of the websites that you may manage with Site Factory. So that's also coming this year, something that we're working on right now. I'm not sure if we've talked about this much, but we now have China hosting. This is actually kind of a big deal, especially for global customers. Like, we do work with companies like Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or Nestle. And these are companies with a lot of products, but maybe more importantly, with a global presence. So they need to host websites for each of those products in every region in the world. And often they have very large operations in countries like China, where they have thousands of people and hundreds of salespeople. And, you know, you can imagine some of these companies in China. And, you know, we didn't offer China hosting before, and it's very hard to do, as you can imagine, with regulations and rules. And so we kind of cracked the code on China hosting, and we are set up to host in China. And we think it's going to be pretty compelling, especially for large global organizations that want one vendor, Acquia, to manage all of their operations versus having to work with, you know, a lot of different vendors for each of the different countries that they do business in. So I don't believe any other competitor does this. So we're excited to have this in market today. It's available today. All right, well, now you've launched your website, it's up and running, maybe it's hosted in China, maybe it's not, but now comes the time to kind of, you know, keep it running, right? And to optimize it. And so that's where we have a whole suite of capabilities around site operations, helping you to monitor and even, you know, do things like upgrade your site. So as it relates to monitoring, we actually announced a partnership with New Relic. If you don't know New Relic, you know, it's a company, publicly traded company actually, that does provide tools for developers that allow you to sort of see how your application is working, where it might be slow, how you could optimize it so it runs faster. And so we partnered with New Relic, and we optimized, you know, we have a version of New Relic, I should say, that it's sort of optimized for Acquia and Drupal. And we've made that available to all of our customers, and it's available at no additional cost. Obviously, as a partner, that's also super useful. You can, you know, use that as you develop your customers' websites to make sure that they're well tuned and well optimized to scale. So pretty exciting. I think actually Chico, one of our team members, I realize, you know, you don't know Chico necessarily, but he did a blog post about it just yesterday. So I think if you go to the acquia.com website, you can see a blog post. There's a video in the blog post as well. So next, one thing that we've been working on actually really hard and for quite a long time is sort of a modernization of our cloud platform. As I mentioned in the beginning, we've been doing cloud, and, you know, we've been cloud first for over a decade, and we're obviously constantly improving and investing our platform. But we're, you know, doing some extra work, I should say, and, you know, more extensive work right now, where we're moving to, you know, basically a Kubernetes native architecture with our cloud platform, which will have a variety of different advantages to what we do today. You can see some of this on the screen here. So this is going really well. We're actually rolling it out for select customers this quarter. So we're starting to, you know, use it with certain customers. And so obviously this will become available for all of our customers, you know, as things develop and, you know, we shake out the bugs, so to speak. So this is going to be great. And, you know, expect to hear more from us about this as we get closer to talking about it publicly. We haven't really talked about it publicly, but we wanted to, I guess, let you know that this is coming. So that's a little bit about the Drupal cloud and site cloud, or sorry, Drupal cloud, I should say. So our strategy has been kind of twofold, which is kind of, you know, pictured here, where on the one hand, we're really investing heavily in the Drupal cloud, which is, you know, still the main part of our business, and, you know, will remain the main part of our business for, you know, potentially forever. At the same time, a few years ago, we have begun to invest in what we call DXP, and sort of moving beyond just websites, right? If you think about creating these great digital experiences, it's no longer sufficient to have a website. I mean, you still need a website, but you also need to do a lot more. You need to embrace other channels like email, maybe push notifications, maybe voice, chat. I mean, there's so many different channels today. So it's not just about websites, but it's about all of the channels. And you really want to do things like personalize these experiences across all of the channels. And all of that is sort of encapsulated by, DXP. It's kind of the name, I guess, that the industry has given to this. And we think there's a lot of opportunity in that. And that second bullet, evolving into a DXP, really maps onto that second cloud, right? Item number 1 maps onto the Drupal cloud. Item number 2 maps onto the marketing cloud. So let's talk about that. All right, so first of all, last year was a fun year, or a lot more fun than this year. And it was one of the reasons why it was fun is because we actually went shopping, so to speak, as a company. We went shopping with the vision and the goal to accelerate that DXP vision. And so we bought 2 companies in addition to Cohesion, which goes in the Drupal cloud. And they're Mautic and AgilOne. You can see them on the Monopoly board here. And we're merging these products, or we're bringing these products together with the existing products that we already had sort of in the marketing cloud. And so we want to share a little bit about our vision and our strategy in the remainder of this presentation, and then we can talk about it more in the Q&A as well.
Yeah,
so let's start with,
I
go
want
ahead.
to jump in, and I think we want to talk and highlight each of the individual products that make up the marketing cloud, and then we get to tee up kind of the big vision for them. So one of the things we wanted to take the opportunity to start is to talk a little bit about AgilOne, because we haven't had a great opportunity yet to present and talk to our partners about AgilOne. We do have some plans to do this over the course of Q2. We've got some great trainings. We've got some really exciting news around AgilOne for our partners. But considering we have so many of you here, and with Dries on the webinar, we knew we'd get a lot of involvement and activity. We did want to highlight a little bit about why AgilOne and some of the capabilities that we're really excited about through AgilOne. So I was going to take us through that, and then I'm going to pass it over to Dries again, who's going to talk a little bit about how we're going to bring these things together. And then I think we're going to be able to show something as well.
Let's do it.
All right. So with AgilOne, the thing that we're trying to solve is this silos problem. And when we saw all those 4 different layers of solving the silos problem, that was nice. But when you double click on the data problem, here's kind of a really good example of what that is. And I love this slide because I think it's something that is actually something that a customer created and built for us. An AgilOne customer, when they were asked beforehand, what is your data systems connections? What do they look like today? And it was something that was very, very siloed, and there were some connections and integrations between them, but overall, we're seeing all these different pots, and in these different locations, you have good data, you have good information, but they're not really connected to all one central place. And some of them may be connected to each other, but we can see all the ways and areas that they're not. And what Dries was talking about and covering earlier is all these different new channels we're talking through, as well as maybe extending from traditional things like email and website, moving into things like voice and other channels like that. What a CDP is going to do, and what AgilOne is really amazing at doing, and we'll show you a little bit later, is taking all those different channels, bringing that into one central location, not necessarily to store that, but to stitch that data together for a single view of customer, and then push that information out into those different channels, whether it be web, outbound marketing campaigns, or digital advertising capabilities. And I thought that was a really nice way to level set before we dig into some things that AgilOne in particular is really powerful at and was really good at. So it's been really exciting for me to learn a lot about AgilOne, not only to understand more about the data problem. It's something that at Acquia we've been thinking about and dealing with for a long time, thinking about Lyft and how we were able to manage different profiles in the website, and that was great. But what AgilOne is able to do is almost to supercharge those data capabilities. And for those of you who aren't super familiar with it, I'll give it a 2-minute primer, and then we'll move forward to some of the other products in the Marketing Cloud. What I think is great about AgilOne is that it's a really battle-tested product. It's something that the company is about 13 years old or so, but the technology is very new. It was re-architected about 4 years ago. So you have all the experience of 13 years. It was the first CDP. It was called the CDP before CDPs were even a thing. They were kind of the pioneers there, but that it also is combined with a modern architecture and platform to support the modern requirements of today. We talked about that single customer view. We can actually show a little bit about what that's like, but the capabilities here, we're going to be able to expose some of that to our partners, are really powerful, using the identity resolution capabilities to run these different algorithms to understand what different profiles are and how people are engaging on different channels, and to bring that into one single view of customer, which is essentially the problem that we're seeing so many folks deal with. And they're industry leaders in machine learning and analytics. The person who founded is the CEO of AgilOne, Omar Atun. He's someone who's actually literally written a book on machine learning. They have a whole machine learning team that are now part of Acquia. So we went from a place where, we were having conversations about machine learning to now being a machine learning expert, which is really exciting. And they have a super engaged customer base. They've come and talked. They actually talked at one of our sales and marketing kickoffs. We've done a couple webinars and things like that with them. It's been really awesome to have an engaged customer base who's a big advocate for us. So I think there's going to be a ton of opportunity here for partners with AgilOne. And one of the things that's super exciting as well is the clients that AgilOne has in their portfolio. Some amazing brands here: Gap, Lululemon, Tumi. I have a Tumi bag myself, so I was pretty excited to see that one come on. Clark's as well. We have some really amazing brands here, and it's not just retail, although they do a lot of focus in retail. There are lots of different opportunities across different industries and verticals, and we're doing a lot of work to explore that. I think grocery is an area we're thinking a lot about now, given the current state. So there's a lot of opportunity here with AgilOne in terms of the value of getting that single view of customer. And I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk through Modoch, because I just wanted to highlight, I know we've talked a lot about this, but there's been some pretty cool momentum around Modoch, especially recently. So I wanted to highlight some of those things just for a brief moment before we move on to some other things with the Marketing Cloud and the exciting part about how it's coming together. But one of the things we've heard a lot from partners is that they're excited about Modoch. We've actually had a couple of them purchase Modoch and use it both for their own tools, but also to help their other customers and be able to show that and demonstrate that, and using Maestro specifically, which helps them have multiple different instances of marketing automation. So they're seeing a lot of value for our partners. And one thing that we've consistently heard is that for organizations who maybe don't have a large practice around marketing automation, Modoch lowers that barrier to entry for them. So they're going to be able to help run multi-channel campaigns without having to build out this massive Adobe or Marketo practice. And that's something that they're really excited about because of how flexible it is and how easy to use it is. And then when we think about it being live really, really quickly, the setup time for Modoch is usually around 2 weeks. It can be around 2 to 4 weeks or so, but getting up and running really quickly with marketing automation, again, something that our partners have found to be really compelling. And then the integrations. So not only is it open and super flexible to integrate into homegrown systems, point of sale systems, or any traditional system coming with these out of the box connectors, but something that's really cool we've seen our partners do is actually bake in integrations as part of the package. So one of the things with one of our customers, they had a couple different connections they wanted to build for Modoch to be able to run multi-channel campaigns. So what our partner was able to do is actually expand their project with them. So it wasn't just CMS, and it wasn't just CMS with Modoch attached. They were also helping to build those integrations to have that single source of one single location to orchestrate all of their marketing campaigns. So we've seen a lot of excitement there for partners as well. And I wanted to transition a little bit to Lyft. I know there's some folks, I saw Mark on the line, so I actually talked to him about Lyft recently, and I've had a bunch of conversations about Lyft, and I wanted to kind of go through some things, and I know Dries is going to talk about some updates the team has made recently. But last year we rolled out a new version of Lyft, and I think we've seen there's been some significant improvements there, specifically around the actual usability of the tool for non-technical folks. And that's something that's really, really important for us. And we've seen it consistently. Usability is a big theme at Acquia, not just for Marketing Cloud, but we're able to have a really, much easier to use UI, something we can do no code personalization, something that makes it really easy for marketers to make those personalizations live on their site. You can do so in just a couple steps. And we've seen teams, they can actually schedule personalization, so they can go in on one single day and roll out personalizations for an entire month or even for a quarter. So kind of making sure that they can work on their own terms, and that's really exciting. And I know, Dries, we've seen the team continue to update and do some exciting stuff around Lyft as well.
Yeah, we can see a couple of things that we've launched in Q1, really. I'll start with the bottom one, but we added multilingual support to Lyft, which was, I think, one of the top 2 or top 3 most requested features, which is exciting. And then also we made a lot of sort of advancements or improvements to campaign deployment. Just like in a website, often you need to prepare campaigns that can be complex in sort of a staging environment or development environment. And then once you feel like everything is set up right, you kind of want to deploy it to production. And so we've added that capability to Lyft as well. So obviously very important for enterprise customers that you don't want to be setting these things up on production environments until you feel really good that the campaign is gonna work and work well.
And both of these things actually were things that partners had actually, we had some customers talk about them as well, but specifically partners being the constant conduit for helping us to kind of improve the way that we build products and how we kind of help figure out what's kind of next to deliver. So the campaign deployment was another thing there, which was, if I want to roll out lots of different campaigns, I want to work just like the way I would for my website. So it's always great to see that coming through from our partners. And I also want to make a note about the Acquia Lyft Solution Partner Program. For folks who may or may not be aware of it, we actually had a bunch of folks in. This was pre-COVID-19, but we had a bunch of folks into the office at the end of Q1 and had a really great meeting with our Lyft solution partners. And it's a program that we offer to kind of get that next level of access to Lyft, which we offer when for customers or for partners who have customers, it's something that's really valuable for them because they actually get full product access. And one of the things we've actually seen is they're able to almost create their own demos to show to their potential prospects as well. And that also means we open up that access to the Acquia product team. We have a lot guided onboarding experiences for them, and we'll roll out some joint marketing efforts. And we also have a partner certification badge and some vouchers. So we're excited about the Lyft Solution Partner Program. I think we have 14, 15 partners in there already, and it's only been live for a short amount of time. And we had an idea sharing session. They were able to talk to the leaders of the Lyft product team and really get some great insight there. It's something that's super valuable for us to be able to listen and learn consistently from our partners and bringing new things to market.
So obviously, yep. So obviously these are 3 great products. Lyft, Mautic, AgilOne, and you can use them standalone. We obviously sell them standalone too. But when I said we went on this shopping spree to build out our marketing cloud vision and our DXP vision, we obviously also had a vision of like, how could we bring these products together, right? Instead of having them just be standalone products. And so engineering teams are very focused right now on integrating these 3 products, and we're starting, and I think we can show and tell it in a little bit, but we're starting with integrating actually the data, right? If you think about Lyft, if you think about Mautic and AgilOne, each of them store user profile data, and each of them enrich a user profile. In the case of Lyft, it's through observing what's happening on a website. In the case of Modoch, it's maybe by observing email open rates. And in the case of AgilOne, they get their data from a lot of different backend systems, like maybe an e-commerce transaction engine or something, right? And so it's great to have all of that user profile. But again, to build these really great experiences, how do we make that one profile so we have all of that information in a single profile so that you can then be really good at personalizing experiences for your customers? And so that is all about data integration, right? And we're working hard on kind of bringing these profiles together. But we're also doing a couple of other things. One is, as a second phase, if you will, we're going to do a lot more UI integration too, so that as a marketer or as a content creator, you don't have to kind of have 5 tabs open and switch between these products, but you can kind of create these experiences across all of the channels from within a single user interface, which will be great. And then the other thing that we're working on right now is we're really thinking about sort of packaging and pricing. Like, how do we create bundles so that when we sell these things to a customer, you know, we don't have to sell each product individually. Obviously, we can, but if you wanted to sell a bundle, how would we do that and how would we price it? So we're very focused on that as well right now. And we're not quite ready to talk about the bundles and the pricing, but expect to see some changes in 2020 around this as well.
Yeah, I think one thing we want to mention is that we want to use our partners. We want as many folks on our marketing cloud to, you know, to leverage these different technologies as possible. So if there are customers and prospects who may be good fits for this, we'd love to have those conversations initially to make it really compelling for them to invest in our marketing cloud versus another one. So that's something we're definitely very open to and focused on.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to a number of our partners, maybe some of you, in the last month or so, and a lot of them, you know, were born sort of out of Drupal, just like Acquia, and they've also seen kind of their business evolve into, you know, still doing Drupal, but also, you know, offering, you know, a broader DXP solution because, you know, customers are asking for that, right? Like I said, it's no longer about just having a website, but it's about how do you create a really good customer experience across all of the channels. And we definitely see the sort of the commercial ecosystem, the agency and consultancies evolve in that direction already, if they're not already there. So we think there's a lot of opportunity for the partner ecosystem in using and selling the marketing cloud to get into bigger deals, bigger projects, and yeah, so.
Cool. And I think we have some quick little videos and demonstrations to actually show about the marketing cloud. So I'm going to take us through those, and it's pretty quick. And then we're going to dive into some partner updates and then move into Q&A. So I'll try to do this fairly quickly, but the objective, as Dries just spoke about, is to use AgilOne as that unified data layer, to have that connection from origin from AgilOne, the super powerful capabilities that exist in AgilOne, and then make that available in Lyft and available in Modoch. So I'm not going to spend too much time framing it up. I'm just going to look to actually play the video. So we'll see how it goes. Nothing like playing a video live. So if I have any, and I know Dries will keep me honest if there's any challenges around sound or anything like that, but I will play the video just to talk through what is available. Nice. Off to a good start. There we go. So first, it's Lyft, and we want to make sure that with AgilOne, we talked about some of the amazing capabilities, and you can see the ability to dedupe profiles with the identity resolution capability, having a single view of customers, so stitching all those together. We're able to capture the different interaction history, so all the ways someone's interacted with a brand or organization on multiple channels, as well as all their transaction history. So all this amazing stuff is stored in AgilOne, and then from that, we create these behavioral analyses based on machine learning algorithms. You can even actually stitch together different households, so you're able to reach out to them more specifically. And with all this amazing data, that's one part of it, but the analytics in AgilOne are something that are really best in class and something we've seen lots of different customers be really excited about. So you can actually collect analytics and you can see presentations of analytics that are based on individual customers, segments of different groups, and then also even down to the product. So you're getting such a great level of understanding. And then machine learning, we talked about this earlier, but there's so many models for machine learning with AgilOne. So the goal is all that great stuff, we want that to be available in Lyft. So what we've done is on the back end, make that integration happen. So you can see some of these models here, likelihood to engage and behavior cluster, now available in the profile in Lyft, all in the back end. So when you create a segment in Lyft, you're actually going to be able to use segments that have already been created in AgilOne. So you're going to be able to use the powerful data and segmentation capabilities in AgilOne, and that super easy to use user interface in Lyft. So then you're going to go in and be able to personalize on Lyft with all those great capabilities that exist in AgilOne. And that's super exciting because you get to take the best parts of Lyft, which is that brand new UI and a simple way to create personalizations on the website, and the best parts of AgilOne, which is the machine learning capabilities and the data profiling and stitching and deduping and making that available in those profiles. And Modoch is next. So we're actually kind of looking really to do something that's very, very similar from what we did with the version of Lyft. So what happens in AgilOne is you can create these things called campaigns. And so they're automatically going to push a lot of this attribute information into Modoch. And what we've done is actually set it up to do so every single day. So it's going to push that Modoch information, the AgilOne information into Modoch every single day. So similarly, like Lyft, when you go into a profile in Modoch, you're actually going to be able to see all of those same things, those same custom attributes that are identified and stitched together with AgilOne's really powerful machine learning capabilities. And one of the things our customers love the most about Modoch is this super simple campaign builder technology. So you can use that campaign builder to build and iterate and orchestrate multi-channel campaigns with this data that you're able to collect in your CDP. Again, bringing the best of both worlds together. And I know, Dries, that maybe the most exciting part about this isn't just that we're working on it and that we have some ideas, but maybe when it's actually going to be available to our customers and to our partners.
Very, very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually excited to launch this. It's going to be available this quarter. So we're really happy about that. And we're happy to share a lot of the additional information there. I know there's a couple other housekeeping items that I wanted to focus on before we moved to Q&A. So if you do have Q&A, we'd love to hear it. So start the Q&A flowing now. And while I do some of the due diligence around the enablement resources for Acquia Academy, we have some new materials and some things that have been available. The team's been working super, super hard to get a lot of these things available in terms of demo enablement by our Acquia SAs, some certification programs like we talked about earlier, some partner enablement and practice development that's going on. And of course, we're constantly adding new things into Academy. But I have the pleasure of doing a lot of conversations and doing a lot of presentations in front of partners. And I know Dries does too. And the one thing everyone asks for, Dries, do you have a guess of the one thing everyone asks for every single time?
Sandboxes?
Sandboxes, that's right. So the Acquia product sandboxes, the team has been hard at work actually listening to what our partners are looking for time in and time out. And we're really excited that we're able to offer all the different sandboxes and opportunities to get your hands dirty, to use the products today. So we're really excited. Lightning, Site Factory, Cohesion, Lyft, Mautic, Dam, much more than that. So we have this. We're going to share these slides with you, so you're going to have access to the links. But we are listening to you when we talk about sandboxes. We're just trying to make sure we do it in the most effective way possible. But we're really happy about the work the team's done to make the products more available to you as well. And some other things that are coming soon: a partner portal with some integrations on Salesforce, additional certifications around sales and Acquia value selling. I've even seen some partners, when they get their certifications, they're getting really excited. They're posting it up on LinkedIn. I promise to like every post that I see about a partner certification, but we're really excited to see that those certifications and those things coming across the line. And just the last kind of piece of this, if you want to access Acquia Academy, of course, we encourage you to do so, and we're going to put that link ahead for you there. And it's something that we wanted to make sure you're aware of. So I know that we wanted to spend a little bit of time with questions. I think we have 10 minutes, but maybe, Dries, if there's some flexibility and we keep getting questions, we're maybe can go a little bit over.
Yeah, more than happy to. Obviously, the partners are important to us, so happy to answer any questions.
Okay, cool. So I'll try to run the Q&A for you, Dries. I imagine people might have some questions for me, but I imagine most of them might be for you.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any question, even if it's not strictly related to this presentation. By the way, if you have a Drupal question or something, things we didn't cover, by all means, feel free to ask it.
Okay, cool. Let's see, there's one question kind of around the the conflict between AgilOne and Lyft profile and which one is maybe the right one to follow from a partner perspective. I can jump in and talk to that, but if you'd like to, that's fine.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it's, so for a customer who has both or is planning on using both, we would have AgilOne be that single source of truth for profiles, because Lyft is able to collect it on the website. It's similar with Modoch. The Modoc's able to collect profile and customer information as well. But if they have both tools, then we want AgilOne to eventually be that single source of truth. But Lyft has those profile capabilities, and we're going to make sure that that data is going to pass in between both of them as well. So it's not something that it's one or the other. We're thinking of AgilOne actually augmenting and improving the profile capabilities you saw in Lyft. And we kind of covered a little bit in that demo there. So that may hopefully have answered a little bit about how we see the world. But we want to make sure we're working on the ways that our partners and our customers work today. If they have profiles in Lyft, then they can live in Lyft. And if they plan to work with AgilOne, when with that would be that single source of truth for profiles. And Dries, I'm actually having a little trouble accessing Q&A.
I see the Q&A here. I can go through them. So, anonymous question.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Question is, do we have to use Cohesion if it's included sort of with Acquia Cloud subscriptions? And the answer is no. Like, we want to make it available to you, but you're not forced to use it. So that means you can keep, doing things sort of the traditional way, if you will, like using Drupal's built-in capabilities, or you may also not use Cohesion when you do a decoupled application, as an example. So it's an option. We believe in giving you options. Where it is very useful is if you need to go fast, or maybe the customer has a smaller budget, or you want to, like Cohesion can really help you go faster there. So, think about when you want to use it and how it best fits your own kind of strategy as a company. The next question is a platform Cdn a white label, or is it something that Acquia developed? No, it is a white label solution. We work with a Cdn provider to do that. There's a lot of art and science that goes into building a global Cdn, and a lot of capital required to have points of presence all around the world to actually get to that very high performance. So we do work with Cdn providers. Actually, we have multiple partnerships in place. I'm not sure if that answers the question, Mark, but if not, feel free to ask a follow-up question about it. Cool Deep asks, do the learning materials, are they available to, Accenture employees? I assume he works at Accenture, but do we share the learning materials?
Yeah, Dries, I can jump in here.
Sure.
Yes, all our materials that are on Acquia Academy are available to all of our partners. For the case of Accenture emails are white labeled, so you can start an account that way, and that will be included in the slides.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, great question. And there's another question asking about how easy it is, or would it be easy or possible even to integrate Cohesion with a headless or progressively decoupled architecture? It's a great question, and I honestly haven't tried it myself. It may not be that easy, to be honest. I don't know if it's built for that use case. Effectively, Cohesion, what it does is it generates Drupal twig files. Think of it as a compiler that takes as input a whole bunch of settings and configurations that you make in a UI, and then it translates all of that, all of these settings into a kind of a twig template, just like how you would manually write a twig template. What it does is it kind of generates one for you, right? So, if you have a twig template, not necessarily easy to go from that to a headless architecture. Now, there's other parts of Cohesion which are more around authoring and how you can enter content into the system. Some of that might be reusable in a headless or a decoupled architecture, but I would say probably a stretch to do these things right now. And I hope that explanation clarifies that. Let's see, another question from Mark. What's the best method for partners to provide feedback on the products? Maybe around Lyft use cases, UX, usability. It's a great question, actually, and I don't know if there's like a one way to do it, but I would say, Mark, just email me, and then that would be a great starting point, and I can get you in touch with the right people on the product team, and we can do kind of like a meeting or a session, and we would love to hear your feedback. So my email is Dries, my first name, @acquia.com. So yeah, if you have feedback, let me know kind of what kind of feedback it is, and we can set up a small group of people to kind of, take your call and listen.
Mark and I talked a little bit about this, but I think there's multiple different ways, but worst comes to worst is just let us know. And, obviously Dries he's one of the only ones who has the single name at Acquia.com. So mine's Eric.Fullerton at Acquia.com, but we're, obviously Dries as our co-founder and CTO is incredibly plugged in. I'm fairly plugged into the organization as well. So if we don't have the immediate answers, we'll make sure you get the answers that you want. So we're happy to help navigate that with anyone who's a partner.
Awesome. Yeah, love feedback. So another question, will existing Acquia Cloud customers also get access to the new products, meaning Mautic, New Relic, AgilOne? So New Relic, yes. So New Relic we're making available for every customer, existing customer, new customers, and it's made available at no cost, no additional cost. Modoch and AgilOne is not something that we're making available to any customer. If you want to try it, send us an email. We might be able to set you up so you can test drive it. Mm-hmm. We may actually have a program around Mautic. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, we're definitely working on ways to make it more compelling for our existing customers to leverage these tools. So that's something we're definitely thinking about. So it'd be, not only in terms of getting that initial access, but identifying a plan for success and potentially getting some more competitive opportunities to use the tools. Let's just say it in a quiet way. But,
yeah, one of our strategic themes, maybe that's kind of a good way to answer it, is like, we're investing a lot in self-service capabilities. We didn't really talk about it, but we launched a self-service trial for Acquia Cloud as an example. It wasn't in our slides, but we're making it possible for customers and partners to kind of, sign up and jump in without having to talk to us. And Mautic already does that, I believe. AgilOne does not do that today, but it's on our roadmap to make AgilOne also self-service, so people can kind of, take it for a ride, if you will, and see what it is all about. So as we do these things, we'll also start to integrate all of that in a single UI, so that, maybe as an Acquia Cloud customer, so you see a button like, hey, give Mautic a try. You can click the button. We can set you up with a trial experience. So these things are coming. Just keep in mind, like, we literally bought these companies, like, 6 months ago, and we've been very focused on integrating them. But where we started is making sure the employees are well integrated, making sure our tooling and systems like Zendesk and all of these things are integrated. So we have a long list of things to go through, but definitely we're working on integrating the products and giving customers and partners the opportunity to, to try all of these things.
Yeah, one other thing I would add is around AgilOne. It will definitely happen this quarter, but there's been a lot of work around a partner program. We didn't include it because I wanted to put a specific date on it, and but we're having this quarter. We're going to be rolling out some offers and some programs around AgilOne for partners, because there's a huge opportunity there for partners. So excited about that.
Yep. Let's see. Another question. Is there a clear strategy for smaller or mid-market clients on Acquia Cloud? And the answer is yes. We're doing several things. Actually, last year we launched a lower priced tier already. I'm not sure if you've seen that. I think it's on our website, on our Acquia Cloud pricing page, but it's a lower cost subscription for mid-market customers. And then we are making investments in our Acquia Cloud Next Gen platform, but we're also adding more and more SaaS capabilities and even a SaaS delivery option in the future. All of these things will be good for, enterprise customers and mid-market or smaller customers. So the answer is yes. More to come on that. Kyle asks a question, and he asks, what benefit does hosting Mautic on Acquia Cloud versus sort of do-it-yourself hosting on AWS have? So there's obviously the Mautic Cloud, which is a solution that we offer where we host Mautic for you. There's a bunch of benefits to that. One is we take care of all of the maintenance and upgrades. So for example, right now we're very close to releasing Mautic 3. If you're on the Mautic Cloud, we will automatically upgrade you to Mautic 3. You don't have to do anything as a customer or a partner. If you self-host, obviously, you have to do all of that work yourself. But there's also some advanced capabilities that are only available in the Mautic Cloud. One example is if you're sending a lot of emails, we have some, special sauce magic to basically get these emails sent out very quickly. Sort of we kind of massively parallelize that so that they arrive in a very timely way versus maybe with the open source version of Mautic, these emails go out sort of at a slower pace because, you don't have that underlying infrastructure to do mass emailing at large scale. So it's just one example. I'm sure we have a good comparison on our website, with other differences, but there are some differences. So it's worth checking out the pros and cons of Mautic Cloud versus doing it yourself. So another question, I can take this one too. So can you elaborate how Cohesion makes a migration faster from Drupal 7 to Drupal 9? Yeah, it's a great question. So it kind of goes back to that one slide where I said, that creating a theme or a template can be 30 to 50% of a project's cost and time. And that's also true when you do a migration. Like when you migrate a website from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8, or from Drupal 7 to Drupal 9, for that matter, there are different parts to a migration. Obviously, step one, and usually that's where you guys are involved as partners, is sort of a planning session. Like, how do you map everything? That can be a substantial, project just to kind of make a plan and a mapping. But then you need to migrate three different things. One, you need to migrate your data, you need to migrate your code, and you need to migrate your theme, if you will, right? And the theme part could actually be 30 to 50%. So, we talk to customers and they say, well, my migration is, very expensive, hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes for big sites to migrate from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8. And what's compelling about Cohesion is that, we can reduce the cost of one of those parts, right? Like we can make the theme, recreating the theme in Cohesion. If you have staff trained on Cohesion, they can do it much faster than, say, writing Twig templates from scratch, right? So if you want to reduce the cost of a migration, Cohesion will help you do that. It doesn't make it zero. It only reduces the cost of the theme. And then there's still the other parts, obviously, outside of the theme and the look and feel. So I hope that answers that question. Another question for related to Acquia Lyft. A question is, any features on the roadmap for automating import-export profiles and mapping those into segments from other core systems like Sales Cloud, Pardot, Marketo, etc.? It's a great question.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about automating that on the roadmap. I think what we will potentially see is for customers who just have Lyft and they want to, we're essentially thinking that an AgilOne CDP would be the place that you would want to automate and segment and kind of have that single source of data, because pushing something into the website, personalization solution, that's really what we're looking at is more of the activity layer. It's going to collect things that happen on the web and then activate them. But overall, when we think about bringing the data together and what pieces of that we want to automate, we'd really be thinking about automating the experience to connect from a CDP like an AgilOne to some of those systems, and then run an algorithm to that to build a segment and then push it out to Lyft, because that's a much shorter time to value than actually bringing all of that custom stuff into Lyft and then having a way to stitch it all together. We're really looking at Lyft as the way to activate website personalization over the course of the next couple of years and make it really easy to do so.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what a CDP is about, right? CDP integrates different platforms like the ones that were mentioned, and then brings a profile together in a way that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then pushing that profile and the segments back out to different platforms as well. So the way this would work, and Eric explained it, so I'm kind of repeating him, but profiles would move from Lyft to AgilOne. AgilOne can merge data from any other platform, including Marketo and Pardot and others, into those profiles. And there's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, by the way, to do the deduping, and it can match on phone numbers and email addresses and postal addresses, and AgilOne is really smart about how it can merge all of these complex profiles, because and then it can use machine learning and rule-based workflows to create segments, and then these segments will also be able to push back out. So then AgilOne becomes a tool where you create profiles and segments, and you can be much smarter about segment creation, and then push those segments to Lyft, but also to push them back into Marketo, because we can make segments better than Marketo, as an example with AgilOne. So it's pretty interesting how that all works. And as we showed in the little demo, we're very close to having Lyft and AgilOne be integrated. It's working. Just a matter of getting it released, which I think is just weeks away if it's not already released. All right, there is another question. James, good to see you on the call. Are there any plans to host and manage non-Acquia products within Acquia Cloud? Not really right now. We talk about it from time to time, and technically we could, but we haven't done so far. So there's no formal plans. It could be a strategy in the future to add more and different products to our cloud, but right now we want to stay very focused on Drupal and Mautic and the other things that we do. We want to be prescriptive and opinionated about what the best DXP is, versus allowing a whole bunch of different products to be run on our cloud, even though technically that's probably not hard to run more things on our cloud. So our strategy has been to be a DXP solution and an opinionated DXP solution, rather than, let's say, a more generic, hosting provider or PaaS platform. So, but obviously that could change at some point. All right, another question. Question is, what types of services can a partner provide to a customer who purchases AgilOne? It's actually a great question. I'll kick it off. Maybe Eric, if you want to add something to that, by all means. Actually, think AgilOne could be very, very interesting for partners, and potentially more interesting than any other product that we have. And if we look at the kinds of deals that we do with AgilOne, there's big projects, often multi-million-dollar projects for these customers, because they're integrating a lot of different platforms. And so what Acquia wants to be is a tool that you can use to integrate these platforms, but we don't necessarily want to do the integration work. And so that's where we would look to partners to do the work. So as I mentioned, these are big projects. I think there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in professional services, if not millions of dollars for large customers. Because very often a company has 30 systems, and all of these systems have profile information, and all of these systems would benefit from being integrated. And it's not just to drive marketing campaigns. Sometimes it's for compliance reasons, for GDPR. Like if you're a large company and you need to delete records from a user, like systems like a CDP can help you with that as well. And so it's a lot of investment going into stitching together all of the enterprise systems that exist with customers. And even in smaller companies, like let's say a company like Acquia, which I consider to be, smallish. I bet you we have 30 systems that we need to integrate, right? So it's not just something for Fortune 2000 companies. And often these integrations are not off-the-shelf integrations. A lot of companies have legacy databases and built systems that they've built in-house to track customer entitlements, for example. And all of these often need to be integrated. And don't forget that a lot of these systems are living systems. Each of these, let's say 30 systems or 50 systems or even 10 systems, they have a life of their own. Data models change, they get upgraded, APIs change when that happens. And so there's sort of maintenance or gardening that you have to do to keep your data in great shape. So I think all of that is interesting for partners. So a lot of great work partners can do.
I would think a little bit, maybe some slightly more like niche practices that they would have, but I know we've seen some partners who have data science teams, and they're helping work with the data science teams that are within AgilOne customers. And sometimes, especially I think as we start to see the customer base for CDPs move from retail to maybe some other places, and maybe they're not as mature, they're going to need a lot more guidance around data science and the really kind of the analytics and data analytics piece of that. So for teams that are working with things like, you can actually pull all your data that exists in AgilOne into Snowflake, and how do you read that? And how do you think about your data? So there's the data science piece, there's the data strategy piece to it, and even some machine learning capabilities. So one of the things AgilOne offers is it offers a lot of out-of-the-box models for machine learning, but it also offers frameworks for machine learning, so that whether it be an individual customer or a partner could actually be responsible if they have some machine learning folks or a small machine learning practice, they could actually be building out algorithms for machine learning for their customer, at cost. So that's something that I think could be really exciting a little bit down the road as well.
Yeah, that's right. Good point. I forgot about that part.
Well, great. I think that's all the questions that were submitted. Thank you, presenters, for staying on a little extra to answer all our partners' questions. And I want to thank everyone for attending our webinar today. Slides and the recording of this webinar will be sent to you via email. And if you have any additional questions, please send them to partners@acquia.com. Thanks again and have a great day.